Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. At least 9 people have died and hundreds injured following a 7.4 magnitude earthquake in Taiwan. The intentions there, including students, are said to be safe. This is according to Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves while speaking on NBC Radio Face-to-Face program today.
None of our students, no intervention has been affected in any way personally, and we thank God for that. But I will speak to her today, and I will sometime this evening. I will see if I can get to speak to the foreign minister, because I'm sure that they're all very busy and tied up. But persons may ask, well, why you didn't talk to them in different hours? You have to time it because of
the time difference.
12 hours.
The Prime Minister expressed solidarity with the people of Taiwan on their loss and is hoping for the best.
For the families, to the families of those who have died, we express our sincerest condolences. And those who are injured, we are hoping that you recover and that we don't have any more deaths, and that those who are under the rubble, we try to, pray Almighty God that the authorities are able to find them and that they've survived. It's when something like this happens, the chances of that are miraculous at the level if you come through pretty well.
The 7.4 magnitude earthquake is the strongest to hit Taiwan in 25 years. The earthquake was followed by a strong aftershocks, including a 6.5 magnitude tremor. Multiple aftershocks and strong as magnitude 7 are expected in the coming days. The Public Service Union, the PSU, is expected to host its election this month, and at a news conference on Tuesday, President Elroy Boucher was asked if a change in leadership will affect the bargaining agreement that the union has with the Argyle International Airport. This after the management of the Argyle International Airport, in a letter to the PSU over the issue of outstanding payments of increments to members, made it known that they are aware of the election scheduled for the 23rd and 24th of this month. In his response, the PSU president said it is the right for any leader to look out for its members regardless of the situation.
Well, a possible change in leadership should not change the price of eggs. The issues are the same. If tomorrow Gwyneth is the leader, or Ashford, the issues that you are confronted with are the ones that you still have to go and address. If genuinely you are a leader that put the interests of the workers ahead of everything else, the mandate of the union is to address the issues affecting workers, irregardless of who the leader is. That's the mandate of a trade union. If you have a trade union leadership that fail to embrace that mandate, then they ought not to be leaders of any trade union. They don't have any other options. That is what the organization is all about. If you have issues, I'm to fight your issues. If you're being treated unfairly, I'm to address that. If you're owed monies, I'm to address that particular issue and try to get you what is yours. If I can't do that, then I would have failed the organization. I'd have failed the trade union movement itself, or the labor movement.
Boucher also noted that any industrial action taken by the union is not political as is being purported.
Indicated to the workers, and what normally happens in those cases is a call to party politics. So you will hear that the union leadership is political, something of that nature. So don't bother with them, because they're only doing this because of partisan politics. Maybe they're on the other side and they want to make the government look bad. And we have made it clear to the workers that such an attempt will be made. But this matter is not a political matter in the sense of partisan politics. There's evidence that this is a matter that we've been trying to resolve for a number of years now. And we who have embraced what's happening at the EIA in terms of our development, and we celebrated with them in last month, in February. You understand? So there is nothing political about it. And that is the only strategy that the authorities have begun. It's the only thing that can be used, because there's really nothing else you can use.
The PSU head opined that there has been a divide in the union movement in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with some aligning themselves with political parties.
Dislocated in some instances. You have a fragmentation of the movement, where you have unions that have literally gone in bed with political parties, and there are unions who have been trying to put the interests of the workers at the forefront in kind of their mandate of what a trade union should actually be doing. And we saw that distinction during the vaccine mandate. See, you had the public service union and the teachers union standing in unison, and then you had a pushback from the other two trade unions in the country on a matter that was so clear cut, right? That defies logic, that you would not want to stand in solidarity. You heard all kind of reasons how you should have approached this back and forth while workers were suffering. Their voices, the other voices, were deafening silence. So that alone tells you the divide. So the trade union movement over the past 20 years have suffered, have actually been broken.
And work continues apace as the Digital Transformation Project Implementation Unit under the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project advances efforts to transform this country's government sector from a manual to a digitally administered sector. The Vinci single window for trade facilitation, the SWIFT component of the project being implemented by UCTAD, is making significant strides and is now at the stage of reviewing the legal framework which will govern the operation of the V-SWIFT. Under the V-SWIFT, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is seeking to set up an automated portal to facilitate traders to transact business in a single electronic window. However, for this portal to begin serving the people, the legislation governing the portal must be in place. UCTAD's lead advisor on the implementation of the V-SWIFT, Terence Leonard, who was in the country recently on his third mission, which dealt with the review of the legal framework, said he is pleased with the work done so far as they await further review by the Attorney General's office.
Principal legislation is basically a draft. It's a draft form, a model act that UNCTAD would have put together. So we engage what is called a technical working group on legislation. That group comprised of the operator customs, the lead operator customs, the Ministry of Trade, a legal officer from the Attorney General's office, UNCTAD, and the legal officer from customs. So throughout a 2-week period, we looked at the model act. We also looked at the explanatory notes that basically explains the different clauses that we are proposing to go into that model act that would guide the operations of the V-SWIFT. We also looked at the terms and conditions of use, that anyone who will be utilizing the V-SWIFT would be basically signed on to those terms and conditions. And then lastly, we looked at a draft cooperation agreement. The cooperation agreement will guide the whole relationship between the lead operator customs and the agencies who will be interfacing with customs on the V-SWIFT. Also, we engage in some public sector consultations on those 4 instruments. So all those phase 1 agencies that will be onboarding with the V-SWIFT, we engaged them various days in consulting them, went through the various clauses of the instruments with them. We would have obtained feedback from them, suggestions from them in terms of the the language that is utilized, does it fit the operational environment that we are, envisioning? And all in all, it was a very good exercise. I would say it was a very professional exercise in terms of the feedback that we got from the various stakeholders. And we were able to come up with a second draft, so to speak, so that we can send to the Honorable Attorney General's chambers for their consideration and onward, of course, to the private sector and then enactment.
Another aspect of the UNTARD's third mission included meetings with the Digital Transformation Project Implementation Unit and the Customs and Excise Department to brief them on the Electronic Data Interference Standards, the EDI.
The EDI standards would be, it would be just a briefing for now. Later on in the project, we'll be going into more detail with the electronic data interface. Now, electronic data interface, as the name suggests, would be the actual automated interfaces between the vSWIFT and all other users, including the partner government agencies. So the EDI standards would basically set certain benchmarks for that interface. Okay. For example, let us say we are looking at a license from the vet division, the chief vet officer. The EDI standards will say, okay, this license will come in a particular form with so much detail within that form, specifying that, okay, once it reaches this agency, it should go through a specific process. So that's basically the EDI standards. Benchmarking that will control and manage the flow of those electronic documents between the agencies and the vSWIFT operator.
Going forward, Leonard has indicated that the fourth mission will focus on change management, which he says is vitally important for the successful implementation of the vSWIFT.
That is basically getting persons to understand the change, the vision, and that it will require a change of mindset in some cases, where persons should start to disengage their minds from the manual process and start looking at things that are digitized. Basically, sometimes you can get certain resistance to change when you're moving from such, from a semi-manual or total manual process to a fully automated process. People resist change. So we'll be looking at engaging various stakeholders, both from the public-private sector, to, basically elaborate on the vision and what will be required, listen to the fears, and basically come up with a strategy, a change management strategy, including a communication plan of how we go about ensuring that everybody is on board in understanding what this means for the economy of SVG.
The increase in Firearms Penalty Bill 2024 is ready to be presented and passed in Parliament. This is according to Minister responsible for National Security, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves on NBC Radio Face-to-Face program today. The next sitting of Parliament is for tomorrow, Thursday, April 4th, 2024.
Tomorrow we go to the House of Assembly. We have two bills. They came out of Select Committee, one dealing with increased penalties for firearms and ammunition. And I want those persons who have a fascination with guns and who have any illegal guns to know this. The penalties are going to increase sharply. And there are some new offenses. That's why it is important for you to take the opportunity to hand in your gun during the amnesty. So that I said before, since last year when this bill, I said, we're putting it in Select Committee.
Prime Minister Gonzalez said that persons still have time to hand in their illegal guns and ammunition, as the bill will come into effect after the gun amnesty ends, noting that ample time was given for persons to have an input on the amended gun penalties.
All the people who say, oh, you must have a discussion on these things and so on and so on. Put it in the newspapers, in each newspaper more than twice. It's online. Send out. Even the Bar Association sends stuff specifically. Not a peep from anybody. Nobody wanted to, nobody sent any memoranda for the select committee. Nobody said they wanted to come to the select committee to make any presentation. Nothing at all. Of course, after you pass the bill, you'll pass it tomorrow. And we will hold it to make sure that the amnesty, you hand in your gun before this thing becomes operational.
And Minister of Education Curtis King is advising members of the public to refrain from using firearms to resolve disputes. King, who was on the ULP Speaks program, says it makes no sense whatsoever to be using a firearm to harm or take another person's life.
Please, additionally, I want to say, especially to our young men out there, put away the guns. You know, we have had for some time a gun amnesty where we are encouraging persons to bring in their illegal guns. Give them up. Because after that period, and we intend to go to Parliament on the 4th of April, and we are going to be introducing more stringent punishment, if you like, for persons caught with illegal guns, among other things, while speaking to the illegal guns. So please, bring in the guns. Take them to the police, the illegal guns, please. After this period, you're going to find that if you're caught with an illegal gun, the penalties are going to be stiff. So, please, but let us avoid the criminal activities. Let us be careful. Let us be on the lookout always. Okay? And give the police less headache.
Assistant Commissioner of Police and Officer in Charge of Crimes Trevor Bailey said several matters that are currently under investigation are awaiting forensic results, which they are very optimistic about. ACP Bailey, who appeared virtually as a guest on NBC Radio Talk Your Talk program yesterday, used the opportunity to urge members of the public to exercise patience with the police as they carry out their investigations, while giving the assurance that law enforcement personnel are acting in the best interest of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. ACP Bailey said they are making every effort to ensure that those who committed crimes are held accountable for their actions.
I give the commitment to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But coincidentally, today is actually 6 months since I've been promoted and been in this position. And the commitment is as strong as day one. The police will be resolute. We will leave no stone unturned in ensuring that persons who perpetrate serious and violent crimes in St. Vincent, that we pursue them with all of the resources that are at our disposal, and that we endeavor to bring each and every one of them to justice. Bear with us, St. Vincent. We are working, things are happening. And in not too distant future, we will see the fruit of our labor. And because the labor here is not that of the police alone, it is a partnership, it is a synergy that has been forged that is long lasting. And together we will counter and we will bring those persons who perpetrate these heinous crimes in our communities to justice.
The hierarchy of the police force through the South Central Division will conduct a walkabout in the Lourdes community tomorrow in an effort to improve working relationships and stop criminal activities. ACP Bailey is requesting that community members, both residents and bystanders, express their security-related concerns to the delegation.
This Thursday from around 4:30 p.m., the High Command and the leadership of the South Central Division will be engaged in a walkabout, and we're really trying to see if we can cover as much ground as we can in Lourdes. We're really thinking of putting part of the team in Greggs as well, so we can have the walkabout in Greggs and Lourdes, but then the meeting will actually take place from about 6:30 just across the bridge in Lourdes, in the area where they have the boxing plant area there, where they back the dashing and so forth.
Yeah.
Right in that immediate vicinity. We're gonna have the meeting from around 6:30. So we're asking persons to come out, engage us, bring your questions, bring your queries. The leadership and hand will be more than willing to engage and address your concerns. I know in that area there is the issue of breeder larceny. Persons complain bitterly of losing their crops and the animals. So bring your concern, bring your questions, bring your queries to the leadership this Thursday, and let us have a fruitful walkabout and meeting after.
And the traffic department of the SVG police force said it has noticed a slight increase in collisions involving pedal cyclists, with a number of people riding pedal bikes on the streets of capital Kingston and outside the Kingston district without proper protective gears. This is according to Constable Rick Hunt, who on the radio today advised pedal cyclists to desist from reckless behavior on the roads.
The pedal bike itself is not being equipped with the relevant necessities or equipment. For example, at nights, the pedal bike doesn't have a light, and at day and night as well, it doesn't have a bell or warning device. Also, the pedal cyclists could be seen riding these pedal bike recklessly and dangerously. Under the Bicycle Act, I am cautioning all persons who know that they are guilty of such offense to desist from doing such. In addition, I am reaching out to the parents who have young children that have a pedal bike to please advise them at all times, once they are going on that pedal bike, to wear their helmet and the relevant protective gear to protect themselves. As we're speaking right now, there is a young man who is a patient at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital who is seeking medical attention because of the fact he was involved in a collision while riding a pedocycle and he had no helmet.
Noting that road safety is everyone's business, Constable Hunt reiterated that while road safety is everyone's business, pedal cyclists must ensure their bikes are equipped with an adequate braking mechanism and a suitable warning device to prevent collisions and even fatalities.
So we are asking the parents and in addition the persons themselves to protect themselves at all times once they are going on the pedal bike. Ensure that the pedal bike have proper braking system, it have the relevant warning device or bell, and it is equipped with a light. And you yourself are wearing the relative protective gears like a helmet. Let us all work together, keep the road of St. Vincent and Grenadine safe, as road safety is everyone's responsibility.